Sex Education is a new series on Netflix starring Asa Butterfield and Gillian Anderson. They are mother and son. His mother is a sex therapist, and Asa Butterfield goes to the local school and has to deal with sort of his mum being slightly embarrassing, and a circumstance that arises where he and a girl he fancies set up a sex advice clinic for the students, and then sort of events and circumstances occur around that. Every episode there's a certain sexual problem or issue that you see at the start of the episode that they end up dealing with as the characters grow and develop through the series. One thing you've got to get over with this, that it took me about half an hour to process, is that it's very stylised in that it's set in modern times, but the school looks like an American school. It's got American style logos, which sort of makes your brain go a bit funny for a moment, and all the styling is from the 80s. They've still got mobile phones and computers, but all the other clothes and furnitures and things like that were all styled in the 80s. I suppose it's to try and make it somewhat timeless, and to try and get away from any conventions that you'd associate with modern day too much. Once you get used to it after an episode or so, it's absolutely fine. You sort of forget about it. Is it a good series? Yes. It covers lots of adult themes. There's some nudity, both male and female. Certainly the first episode, there's a scene immediately almost, there's a scene where there's a couple having sex and you see the woman naked. You also see the rear view of a man's penis a couple of episodes later. It's not really about those kind of things, so it covers the subject matter of sort of awkward teenagers and problems in school and sexual issues and that really well. It's funny, which is important, and it's also manages to balance that with an element of pathos, which is really good. It's an easy watch, and it made me and my wife chuckle quite a few times through it, but you also care for the characters as well, and you feel that the choices they're making, even in these sort of strange circumstances, are real choices that they might make. Particularly ones with he's got a gay friend who's struggling with being gay in his family, and you would expect under stereotypical writing for his dad to be aggressive and harsh and horrible, and instead they tackle that subject much more, what I would imagine realistically, that his dad obviously is more worried for his son's safety and his well-being, as opposed to, my son of mine will be gay, which is just such lazy writing. Instead, the dad is really well written, and I feel that really added to the sort of credibility of the show. So yeah, it's definitely worth watching if you want something grown up but funny, and covers those sort of topics in that theme of high school. I hope it comes out for a second series, because it deserves one. And the best line in it is when someone just offhand refers to Asa Butterfield as looking like a Victorian ghost, because he does. And I hadn't thought about it till they said it, but he does look like a Victorian ghost, and I thought, oh, that's well written. That they obviously knew he was acting the part when they did it, or it was just a throwaway line said once they cast him. Gillian Anderson is really good in it as well. There's some things about parenting and relationships that she, as the sort of so-say experienced sex counsellor, she uses sex with just sort of somewhat random men to sort of hide her problems with being intimate following and being cheated on by her husband. So that's quite nicely dealt with as well, and it's not rammed down your throat either. So yeah, Sex Education, definitely worth watching.